Hello and welcome to Chronicles of a Photojournalist. This is a trip I did to Namibia in September 2015. I found this archive of videos while looking for one particular video, and obviously it is very rough. It's not very well put together, and I'm certainly not going to spend a lot of time putting it together in a seamless way. This is really just to give an idea of the life that I was leading prior to getting full-time into writing books, true crime books. On this particular occasion, I was in the southwestern part of South Africa, just below the border to Namibia. So it's, if you just visualize the bottom of Africa, it's on the sort of left-hand side, near Cape Town, but I guess just sort of up the road from Cape Town, about 1,000 kilometers or so. And I was about to head into Namibia on this particular day. I'd had a horrible night the day before. I'd followed my GPS and I'd gotten totally off track. I'd really made a mess in terms of driving, and let's just go into what I said the very next day. Right, so I'm leaving De Houthoop. I'm on my way to Namibia. My GPS, which I'm not sure if I should pay too much attention to, but it's giving me a time of arrival through the border at 10 to 4, and the border closes at 4, which means I can't really stick around for photos. So that's a bit of a pity. But yeah, on the other hand, I did get a really good night's sleep last night, and I'm feeling quite restored. I have found a little bit of damage to the car, not on the outside, but basically my tripod bumping against the back seat, which it wouldn't really have done if I'd arrived on time. Wouldn't have bumped around for 5 hours. Yeah, so that's a little bit of a concern. It's a small little sort of scrape on the back of a seat, but it's nevertheless a bummer. So yeah, I'm looking forward to getting going. Today, very few photos. I think I've already taken quite a few at De Houthoop. The amazing thing with De Houthoop is this oasis of creativity, of a nuclear family in the middle of nothing. It's literally nothing for miles and miles around. And then at De Houthoop you have this little enclave of love and of art and of memories and all that sort of thing, and it's interesting that that's almost the inversion of the whole Keith Alexander mythos. So that's been pretty interesting. So yeah, there's not going to be much more photos etc. today, but hopefully a lot more tomorrow. Okay. So I can't quite make out what that was all about something about that I wasn't going to take photos for the rest of the day or something, because clearly I did take quite a lot of photos. I don't know whether that was a mistake or whether the situation changed. I also picked up a hitchhiker, which is not the smartest thing to do anywhere in South Africa, but I don't know, for whatever reason. I think because he showed me where the where a very random fuel depot was in the middle of nowhere. By the way, this is one of the most deserted parts of the world, so you can get into serious trouble if you get into serious trouble. And I'd almost gotten into serious trouble the night before, getting lost, and I didn't know it, but I was about to get into serious trouble this night. And I just had a really bad experience at the end of this particular day, and it kind of puts into perspective the sort of photos and stops that I made on the way to getting lost. Not really lost, but stuck, getting stuck on a dirt road in Namibia on the way to where I was going.
Okay, like this.
Ja, dat is reg. So kan jy my sien?
Yes, I can see you.
Okay, kan net vinnig praat. Okay, so I've just had huge drama. I made another wrong turn on my way. I thought I was on my way to Kleinseer. The car was basically saying I'm running out of diesel. Things were flashing, you know, emergency, whatever. And then I was going the wrong way again. Fortunately, I turned around probably 10-15 kilometers into the trip and turned around, headed to Kleinseer. When I got to Kleinseer, I couldn't find a petrol station. Now, Kleinseer is like a tiny place. It's sort of a mining
area.
Yeah, thanks. It's a mining area. And so somebody just wanted to find diesel. So the first people I asked said, well, it's just around the corner here, just go over here, go there, there's nobody there, I'm hooting. And it just looks like this petrol station has died and gone to hell. So I asked another 2 or 3 people, okay, where is it? And they're going to say, well, at that white building, go left, whatever. So eventually I picked up a hitchhiker, you know, it's Wagner, right?
Wesley,
sorry. Don't see how much sleep I've had. Anyway, and he gave me directions right out of town to the small little
petrol station.
It's a petrol station, but it's got no branding. It's kind of like a little white building near a quarry, right out of town, and yeah, just totally nondescript. And here's the thing:
yes,
zero signs, no signs anywhere saying petrol. You just have to figure it out. You just have to, I guess everybody's going to ask where it is because there's literally no signs.
Yes.
I use my GPS, which gives you directions to petrol stations, and it gave me directions to one that no longer exists.
Yes.
The Shell one. So the nightmare continues. That's it.
Yes.
Okay, donkey. Thanks. Let's just see if it's still on. Yeah. Okay, donkey. Ja, ek maak.
Okay, so while I'm stopped here looking at a tortoise, I think I was about to get out the road here and take the tortoise off the road, but something else happened. I might as well tell you what this is all about. I was traveling into Namibia on a kind of assignment. I was covering a story for a magazine called Country Life on the artist Keith Alexander. So I was basically going to Namibia. I've been there before, and I sort of made an arrangement with the
So you should run over the whole
manager
road.
of a group of hotels to stay there for free in exchange for giving them a bit of credit for where I was staying, I guess, when I was doing the story. And this is where I was heading to. I was heading out of South Africa into Namibia to begin the sort of documenting of this story of this artist Keith Alexander, who only painted Namibian scenes. On the way I saw flowers, this particular jackal on the side of the road, and you can see at this stage it's quite late in the day. It's getting, the landscape's getting that sort of beautiful golden light, and I always find it very hard to drive without stopping at the end of a day wherever I am, just because I really love the golden light. Just something my great grandfather painted, and I guess it's something that it's maybe a bit of a weakness for me. So I guess close to the border I stopped quite a few times just to record footage. I was actually taking a lot of photos, not very much video, but I do have some video. I remember at the time speaking to my partner at the time, just saying maybe I should record some video and tell people about, you know, what I'm doing when I go on these trips. And ultimately I never did anything with this video really until now, and I'm not really doing much with it now. I'm just cobbling it together just to let you know what my life was before true crime. And it was doing this sort of thing, going on assignment out into the country and writing for magazines. And, you know, although that was specifically what I was doing, I had a bit of fun with it. I took some photos that could have other applications in magazines and try to make the most of the trip in terms of recording footage, but also just in enjoying it. And as I say, the end of the day when the light changes is just very hard for me to get through without wanting to stop and you know, enjoy it. So where we are now, we are coming to the very edge of South Africa, the border with Namibia, and you can see how the landscape is changing into basically just rocks and dirt. That fabric of vegetation is now wearing thin. We're going into a very, very dry part of the world, one of the driest deserts in the world, Namibia. And what's happening now is the substrate is emerging, and that is what makes Namibia such an amazing country. Is you'd think that just dirt and sand and rock would be a boring landscape, but there's something amazing about it. There's something almost like it's another planet, like another world. So as far as I remember, I was driving to get to the border within a certain time, and I made it through the border within before that deadline. But then I was basically going to be driving from the border to where I needed to be, which I think my GPS said was about an hour's drive, but that drive was going to be in complete darkness. And I didn't think that was going to be a big deal. I didn't think driving an hour on a dirt road was going to be a big deal, big mistake. So at this point, we're in Namibia. There's a tanker up ahead, and it's just getting rockier and drier and more like Mars with every passing kilometer. Now, very shortly after this point, the tar road gave way into dirt road, and then it was just dirt road from then on. And this is where I had what turned out to be a pretty horrible experience. I was driving where I put in the destination. My GPS led me on a road that wasn't the right road, and at one point I eventually just stopped and turned the vehicle around. No big deal. I hadn't gone that far on the wrong road. It just was a matter of turning the vehicle around, going back maybe half an hour, and then turning onto the right road. But something unexpected happened when I did that. When I tried to make this U-turn on the dirt road, the vehicle got stuck in very soft sand. And it didn't seem like a big deal. It just seemed like, well, just reverse out. And the thing is, I just couldn't get out. And eventually the entire rear of this van sank into the ground, and I was well and truly stuck. I just couldn't get it out of there. I couldn't get it out of there by simply driving forward and driving backward. And it just seemed crazy. And what you see there is the hole that I dug. Obviously this was about 2 hours later of getting on my stomach and digging on either side of all four wheels, and I eventually made it the other side and arrived at the hotel, I think at 1 or 2 o'clock in the morning, only to find that no one was opening the door or whatever, and so I ended up sleeping in the van that night. It was pretty cold. And so I'll pick up the story the next day in Namibia and take you through some of the sights and sounds of Namibia the second biggest canyon in the world, and just some of what you see around there. So if you're interested in that, please subscribe to the channel. I don't know if I'm going to put a lot of content up here on this, just because there are a lot of haters and moaners and complainers, but we'll see how this video does, and then maybe I'll put up a couple of others. In any event, thank you for listening, and I'll see you guys next time.